Hey, how's it going? I'm Ron.
I'm Zach.
We're here on yet another episode of Influences. And this week, we are going to talk about one of our favorite new shows.
Hence the TV screen, which I dented with an axe myself.
Yeah.
In great tradition.
Yep. That intro is one of my favorite things about the show. Anyhow, Black Mirror. Executive producers Charlie Brooker and Isabel Jones. Or is it Annabelle?
Yeah, Annabelle.
Yeah, that's right. Charlie Brooker is also the writer of the series. And this series is amazing. If you know anything about our love for Twilight Zone, you will know that we do not throw Twilight Zone comparisons around lightly. It's almost sacrilege to do that, but Black Mirror is worthy. It's groundbreaking. It's definitely, it started out as a British TV series for the first couple seasons.
I think it still is, really, or mostly.
Well, Netflix bought it
Yeah.
for the third and fourth seasons.
Oh, yeah.
And what this series deals with is it shows just a little bit ahead into the horizon of modern culture, specifically in relation to technology, social media, and human interactions in the midst of all of these breakthroughs. Some of the pitfalls and potential pitfalls, much like the Twilight Zone was served as a bit of a warning. If we're not careful, this is a direction we could go in. Black Mirror does it brutally honest, and more often than not, the lessons just hit home in such a oh my god kind of way. What are some of your thoughts on the series, Zach?
Wow. If you decide to say, hey, I think I'll check this show out, we must put out a warning. Not only is it a little bit, can be graphic in some parts, but first episode tends to be the hardest one to get through. This, I think, was kind of a mistake. Really, I mean, I think a first episode doesn't need to be like a test, especially for a show like this where ideally it should be, shown to many people because it's such a great show. It's a work of art, I think, and kind of putting a disclaimer at the head of your series is a little silly if you ask me, but by all means.
That's a great point.
If you were to check out Black Mirror, give it another chance after the first episode, or simply start with the second. There's no real order. It's all kind of
you can start it from any episode. That's one of the things. They're all separate, and
it's very similar.
If
to
you
Twilight
look
Zone
online, people do compile lists of no, start with this one and go in this order. That's kind of a thing. Speaking specifically from personal experience, I started hearing about the series. It was on my radar a little bit, and I started watching the first episode, and I got into where the plot was starting to develop, and I said, oh, I'm not watching this. And so I turned it off. And I kept seeing things online about just make it through that first episode. It actually is a good episode, and the rest of the series will just blow your mind. And so I did indeed do that. I gave it another chance, and they were right. I was hooked after 2 episodes. But yes, again, you don't need to watch it in any order. Just kind of go through the descriptions, and see, oh, that looks interesting. Or, we have a couple recommendations.
I will say the second episode of the first season, considering there are so many, or not, well, yeah, there's actually quite a few crossovers between episodes, not anything relating to the plot, but more of as a hidden little, you just barely missed it. If you blink, you'll miss it type of thing. Being able to get some context on all the things in the series is nice. So yeah, starting early can be good in that way. But at the same time, there are lots and lots of great episodes towards the end of the series. So it's all really fair game on where you want to start, and your experience shall not be hindered in any way.
Yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of the time you think you know where it's going to go, but you really won't.
Like if you enjoy Sherlock Holmes mysteries, if you enjoy a show where you don't know what is going to happen next, because in Black Mirror you really don't, it is very safe to say you will enjoy the show. I mean, it's quite universal in the mystery sense, in the horror sense. It's not doesn't use anything cheap like, ooh, it was quick, so it got you. It, it's all very psychological, which is...
Yeah, there's some interesting things with social media, for instance. There's an episode, what's her name, Ron Howard's daughter, Bryce Danner, or something like that. She stars in an episode called Nosedive. It's the premiere, the first episode of season 3.
And it all relates to how social media starts becoming more and more on people's worth and their actual
in society,
place in life, you know?
Your actual interactions in society will determine the amount of likes you get, and you have a score that determines your worth as a person. Things like this. There's things that address the American Idol kind of phenomenon. There's technology. There's one episode called The Entire History of You, which features...
That's another great one to start off on. That's, about technology. Who does it feature?
Well, it features nobody that you would know, but the characters everybody has a technology where in their eyes where they record everything that they encounter,
and it's not
and they can play it back, and so it shows how that works
and
with
it's
the
more
relationships
in depth and all that, and it's like people, being a new thing, people say, well, yeah, I don't really know how that's gonna work out. That seems kind of new and kind of excessive and all that, and it's like that with every episode. There's technology relating to people and enhancements, and also with society, and lots of technology that we're really just breaking through to now, like say prosthetic limbs, for example. The cloud, social media in general, all of the new sort of technological advancements are being kind of imagined forward in this show, and it's very, very cool to see.
Yeah, the exponential momentum of progress in technology, definitely we make these quantum leaps, and then do we say, how does this impact us as people? And before we even are able to answer that question, the technology has already found itself embedded in our culture. Social media is a great example. Many repercussions with social media that none of us really considered until it was actually out there.
I mean, for example, the creator of dynamite, not the atomic bomb, but dynamite, used it for digging, and boy, how could he have known? But it's stuff like that.
That's what Charlie Brooker is really concerned with, is more the human side of it. The technology is just a launching pad for how humans interact with the technology, and that's much in the vein of Rod Serling and the Twilight Zone. It always comes down to the human factor and what our flaws of humanity are, and maybe these things will make us consider ourselves without going off on a tangent too much, there's I hear a lot of people in my generation criticize the younger generation, which is every single generation ever does. But personally, for me, I see a lot of promise in the younger generation. I keep holding out hope that with so many tools at their disposal to be able to learn, now there's no limitations to what they're able to learn. They can get knowledge and they can get insight, and that's a wonderful thing. It absolutely has its pitfalls, but my hope
for
is,
example, you get all these darn kids that can just look up the lyrics on the internet and they don't have to say, what's he saying
like
there?
we used to. What is he saying? But anyway, my whole hope is that these lessons, as we advance, these lessons will provide the next generation with the tools to kind of fix some things where we've misfired, and build upon some of the better things that we've done. So shows like this really kind of bring it into sharp focus of, here's what we need to be on the watch for. We definitely, this is not too far in the future. That's the thing. A lot of futuristic shows are like Star Trek or whatever. They're way far in the future. This is like 5-10 years ahead. Like, we are pretty much there with the technologies that they're talking about in most cases. So what are some of your favorite episodes?
Oh, that would be too much, don't you think?
No.
I mean, there's episodes like just to give small descriptions. There's episodes that relate to more of how people can get implants in their heads now to do small tasks, or get a chip in your foot to see where someone's going, or get a chip in your foot, have someone know where you're going and all that, whatever, based on a true story. And stuff like that relates more to like all the technology being used kind of in people, which is very, very foreign, considering we don't really do that besides prosthetic limbs and other small organs, because it's just kind of crazy, cyborgs and stuff.
AI is one of the other things that's one of the other topics that's addressed in a couple episodes of this. I have a couple. I really like the episode White Bear, and I really can't tell you what it's about without giving away the plot. But that one, as with a lot of these, much in the vein of Twilight Zone again, the ending just socks you in the gut. You're like, oh wow, and that one really did it for me. White Christmas is another one which stars John Hamm from Mad Men. That's a really good one.
It's Donald Draper. I mean, I don't know who he's talking about, but
Don Draper. Excuse me. Yeah, but
not to ramble too much and give off too much away. We just like to express how much we love stuff.
Yeah.
Like that.
The dark quality of this series, we really identify it with it. It influences our music.
And I think that's all because of when you write music, you can write it about pretty much anything you can think of. Certain songs are about stories, and lots of the times, the stories that songs are about are not necessarily friendly. A lot like the stories in this show, they may not be entirely friendly and everyone lived happily ever after, but they're still valuable stories, and I really respect that. Kind of the whole darkness, melancholy thing as a whole is really nice.
There's a certain
something cool and drawing about it.
Yeah, there's a certain reverse psychology about this stuff. Like when you see a tragic ending to one of these shows, and it really impacts you, but then you're able to say, well, that was just a TV show. In reality, we have an opportunity to avert that kind of tragedy and I think with songwriting, a lot of the time it's a catharsis of you have these experiences and these dark kind of thoughts that you want to put them into a productive place and go through a process of healing and learning from bad experiences and tragedies and such. So art like this, and as we've touched upon with certain bands like Tool and the Porcupine Tree and Radiohead, there's a certain bleakness there, but it's almost like light trying to come through a gray sky, and the light is the point. The gray sky is just the background to tell the story. But
because all the famous quotes are light is most visible in darkness, or however the quotes go. There's a million of them, but
in any event, it's beautiful. It's beautiful works of art, and this series is it just deserves the kudos. It deserves to be recognized as this is above and beyond high art, on a pedestal that a lot of there has been a lot of good TV coming out the last few years with some of these subscription-based channels. So the limitations of network TV don't apply to the Game of Thrones and Mad Men and Breaking Bad and all these shows like these with Black Mirror and such. And I think it's a really good medium. HBO has been a really good front runner of just hitting us with some amazing stuff, series-wise, and hopefully that'll continue.
Anyways, we've
geeked out
far
enough
far
on this
too
one.
long.
So check out Black Mirror. Season 4 just came out. It's really good. Start anywhere in the series. We would suggest not starting with episode 1, season 1.
But hey,
if your curiosity is piqued, check it out, make it through, and realize that that's the most cringe-worthy one that you're going to experience in the series.
But anyways, just because I'd like to get my say in the outro, and I've been saving this particular saying for quite some time now. What are you still doing here? Go on, check it out. It's great.
You know it.
Or what?
I need a response. I need to have a thing that I say along with that.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
point.
like he said.
All right, we really got something.
So we were also thinking like they used to do in the rock magazines where the two guys would be, like he rocks.
No, he
he
rocks. No way. But
anyhow, till next time, keep on rocking.